Let us now see how to subtract fractions. So again, whenever we do any operation on fractions, there can be two types of fractions that we'll see, like and unlike. So like fractions are the fractions that have the same denominator, right? For example, 5 by 9 and 2 by 9. So when we are given two like fractions, then again the rule is simple. We subtract the numerators. So in addition, we used to add the numerators. Here we subtract the numerators because this operation is subtraction. And then we keep the denominator the same. Right, so we have 5 by 9 minus 2 by 9. Right, so we'll just write 5 minus 2, which is 3 by 9. And then we can further simplify this because 3 by 9 has a factor in common, which is 3. So we divide both sides by 3, both the numerator and the denominator. So we'll get 1 by 3 as the answer, right? Another question, we have 7 by 8 minus 3 by 8 minus 1 by 8. Again, all three of them are like fractions, so we can simply subtract it. How do we subtract it? We write 7 minus 3 minus 1. So 7 minus 3 is 4, 4 minus 1 is 3. Right? So 3 is the numerator. And then what we do, we write the denominator the same. So 3 by 8. So 3 by 8 is the answer. So there's no factor in common and it is also a proper fraction. So there's no need to do any further processing here. Right? Now let us see how do we subtract unlike fractions through an example. So Ria took 3/4 kg of lemons to make lemonade. She only used 2/3 kg of the lemons. How much did she have left? In order to understand what operation we need to do, we just have to replace this fraction by a number. Say Ria took 5 kg of lemon to make lemonade. She only used 2 kg of the lemons. How much did she have left? So the answer will be 5 minus 2, which is 3. So now we know that we have to subtract. We'll just subtract these fractions, 3 by 4 and 2 by 3. Right, so when we are subtracting two fractions, we need to ensure that this is always larger. So we can do a quick check. We have already seen how do we use cross multiplication to check which is greater. So we multiply this by 3 and we multiply this by 2. So 3 3s are 9 and 4 2s are 8. So 9 is greater than 8, so we can do this subtraction. Right, so what we need to do? We need to subtract 3 by 4 and 2 by 3. Right, so first of all, we have to convert them to like fraction. How do we convert them to like fraction? We find a common denominator. How do we find the common denominator? We calculate the LCM. So the LCM of 4 and 3 will be 12 because they have no factor in common. So when two numbers have no factor in common, their LCM is just their product. Okay, so 4 times 3 is 12. So 12 is the LCM. Now I need to convert it to an equivalent fraction with the denominator as 12. So I write the denominator as 12 and then try to find a number to which I should multiply 4 so that I get 12. So if I multiply 4 with 3, I'll get 12. So I'll multiply numerator with 3 as well. So 9 by 12. So this is what I've done. Right? Because I know the denominator is 12, I need to find the number that I have multiplied 4 with to get 12. So it is 3. So I also multiply the numerator with 3 so that the value of the fraction does not change. Similarly, 2 by 3. Again, I know that the new denominator must be 12 because it should be common denominator. So I find a number that I should multiply 3 with so that I get 12, so which is 4. So 3 4s are 12. So I multiply the numerator with 4 as well. So I get 8. So this reduces to a very simple problem wherein we have two like fractions and then we have to subtract them. Right, so if I subtract 9 by 12 and 8 by 12, I'll get 1 by 12. So what is the answer? Ria had half kg of lemonade left. Okay. Now let us see how do we subtract mixed fractions. So we have already seen how do we add mixed fractions. Right. Similarly, we'll see how do we subtract mixed fractions. Again, if you follow the conventional approach, it is going to take a lot of time. Right. What is a good example that we can use here? So we have 3 3 by 5 minus 2 1 by 5. And we have to subtract these two. So first of all, what we'll do, we'll first subtract the whole part. Right. So 3 minus 2, which gives us 1. So this is the first step. We are done with the first step. The next step is we subtract the fractional part. In order to subtract the fractional part, this must be greater than this. Right? So 3 by 5 minus 1 by 5, which gives us 2 by 5. So we got the whole part and we got the fractional part. We just combine them. Right? So we'll get 1 2 by 5. which is the answer. Okay. Now see, although this method may sound very easy, there is one catch. So this only works when this fraction is greater than this. If it is not greater than this, then we'll not be able to subtract the fraction part. Say for example, if this was 2 by 5 and this was 3 by 5, right? Say 3 2 by 5 and 3 3 by 5, right? So if I subtract this whole part, I'll get 3 minus 3, which is 0. And if I subtract the fractional part, 2 by 5 minus 3 by 5. So I am subtracting a larger number from a smaller number, which is not possible as of now. So that is why this method fails there. But there is another approach that we can use, right? The same method. It will make the same method work. So let us take an example wherein the first method does not work. So 6 3 by 7 minus 4 5 by 7. Right. So now I notice that the first thing whenever you are subtracting, always check whether the fractional part is larger or smaller. So here you see this fractional part is smaller. So 3 by 7 is less than 5 by 7. Right. So what we do, we try to make it larger. How can we make it larger? We borrow 1 from this. Right. So once we borrow 1 from this becomes 5. Right. This becomes 5 and then this becomes 1 3 by 7. So if I just write this, it will be 1 times 7, which is 7, and plus 3, which is 10. So this becomes 5 10 by 7. Instead of 6 3 by 7, it became 5 10 by 7. Now I just have to subtract 4 5 by 7 from this. Right, so this becomes very easy. Right, again the same question, we have converted to the same question, the example one. Right, so we subtract the whole part now. So 5 minus 4 gives us 1. So 1 is the whole part. Then we subtract the fractional part. So 10 by 7 minus 5 by 7, which is 5 by 7. Now we combine the whole part and the fractional part. So we get 1 5 by 7. So if I write this answer, I'll get 1 5 by 7 as the final answer. Right? We'll do one more example to reinforce this concept. So we have, say, 8 2 by 3, and I have to subtract. Let us take this 8 2 by 5, right? And I have to subtract 8, or say 6 3 by 5. Now again, if we compare these two numbers, we'll see that 2 by 5 is smaller than 3 by 5. So subtraction is not going to work. So I have to borrow 1, right, from this whole part. So once I borrow 1, this becomes 7, and this becomes 1 5 is 5 plus 2, which is 7. So 7 7 by 5 minus 6 3 by 5. Now we can move ahead with the subtraction process. So we subtract the whole part. So 7 minus 6 is 1. And then we subtract the fractional part. So 7 minus 5, 7 by 5 minus 3 by 5 gives us 4 by 5. So 1 4 by 5 is the answer to this question. Okay. Now we know addition and subtraction, and we have done addition and subtraction in case of like fractions, right? Now let us see a different example. So here we have two mixed fractions. We have the whole part and the fractional part are not like, they are unlike. So how do we approach this question? So here we have to add these two fractions. So what we do, we first add the whole part, right? So 2 plus 1 gives us 3, right? So 2 plus 1 will give us 3. So this is the first step. Then what we do, we try to add the fractional part, 1 by 3 and 2 by 5. So since they are unlike fraction, we have to convert it to like fraction. How do we convert them to like fraction? We find their LCM. So LCM of 3 and 5 is 15 because they have no factor in common. So LCM is 15. Now we try to convert these two into an equivalent fraction with denominator 15. Right? So if I multiply 3 with 5, I'll get 15. So I'll multiply 1 with 5 as well. Right? If I multiply 5 with 3, I'll get 15. So I multiply 2 with 3 as well. So I get 6. Right? So now the fractional part becomes 5 by 15 plus 6 by 15, which is 11 by 15. And we already calculated the whole part, which is 2 plus 1, which is 3. So 3 is the whole part and 11 by 15 is the fractional part. So if I join it, I'll get 311 by 15. Right, let us now see one example wherein we have to subtract. Right, when we are going to subtract these two numbers, first of all, we'll check which is greater. Right, is 2 by 3 greater or is 1 by 4 greater? If this is greater, then there is no issue. If this is greater, then we have to borrow 1. Right, so among 2 by 3 and 1 by 4, if we cross multiply, we'll get 8 here and then we'll get 3 here. Right, so 8 is greater than 3, so 2 by 3 is greater than 1 by 4. So we can simply subtract it, subtract the whole part and the fractional part without any further processing. So if I subtract the whole part, I'll get 4 minus 1, which is 3. So if you look at step 4, I'll get 3. Right? So 3 is the whole part. Next, we subtract 2 by 3 and 1 by 4. So to subtract 2 by 3 and 1 by 4, we find the LCM of their denominator because we want to convert them to like fractions. So their LCM is 12 because they have again no factor in common. So 12 is their LCM. Right? Now we have to convert 2 by 3 such that the denominator is 12 and 1 by 4 such that their denominator is 12. Right, so 2 by 3, if I multiply 3 with 4, I'll get 12. So I'll multiply 2 with 4 as well. So I'll get 8 by 12. 1 by 4, if I multiply 4 with 3, I get 12. So I multiply 1 with 3 as well. Right, so the first fractional part is 8 by 12. The second fractional part is 3 by 12. So if I subtract them, I'll get 5 by 12. Right, so what was the whole part? The whole part was 3 and the fractional part was 5 by 12. Right, so this is the answer. Next, I have just two word problems. We'll try to solve this before we jump to multiplication. So Ram lives 5 by 8 kilometer away from school while Sarah lives 1 by 4 kilometer away from school. How much farther is Ram's house than Sarah's house from the school? So when we are comparing two quantities and trying to find how much is this greater, how much is this smaller, we have to subtract the numbers. So we have to subtract 5 by 8 and 1 by 4. Now these are unlike fractions, right? So we have to first convert them to like. So how do we convert them to like? We find a common denominator by the LCM. So the LCM of 8 and 4 is 8. Why is it 8? Because 4 completely divides 8. So that is why 8 is the LCM and 4 is the HCF. Okay. Now this 5 by 8 will be as it is because it already has 8 as the LCM. This 1 by 4, if I multiply 4 with 2, I'll get 8. So I'll multiply 1 with 2 as well. So I'll get 2 by 8. So the value of 5 by 8 minus 2 by 8 is 3 by 8, which is the answer. Right. Then we have farmer 1 has 3 by 7 kg of papaya while farmer 2 has half kg of papaya. How many kilograms of papaya do they have altogether? So here we just have to simply add these two numbers. So 3 by 7 and half. Right. So when we add these two numbers, again these are unlike, so we have to convert them to like fraction. So their LCM is 14 because 7 and 2 have no factor in common. Right, so their LCM is 14. So if I multiply 7 with 2, I get 14. So I should multiply 3 with 2 as well. So I'll get 6 by 14. Similarly, if I multiply 2 with 7, I'll get 14. So I should multiply 1 with 7 as well. So 7 by 14. Now if I add both these numbers, I'll get 6 plus 7, which is 13 by 14. Right, so this is the answer. So in the next class, what we are going to do, we are going to start with multiplication.